Are you struggling with GCSE Maths? This is part one of our full paper walkthrough, breaking down questions topic by topic to make sure that you feel confident going into your mock exams. Let's take a look. Question 1 says write 0.27 as a fraction. So we can do this using the calculator. If we type 0.27 into the calculator, we get 27 out of 100. Next, we need to write 2/5 as a decimal. We can also do this using the calculator if we press the fraction button and then input 2/5 SD, we get 0.4. And then we need to write 0.35 as a percentage. So the way I convert a decimal to a percentage is just multiply the decimal by 100. So if we've got 0.35 and we times this by 100, we're going to move the decimal point 2 units to the right. So 1, 2, to get 35%. Question 2 says simplify fully. We've got x plus 4x. So this involves collecting like terms. So you've got 1 lot of x plus 4 lots of x. So in total we've got 5 lots of x. Part B says simplify fully, 5 times 2w. So we're going to deal with the numbers first. 5 times 2 gives us 10. And then we're going to stick the algebra on at the end to give us 10w. 2c says simplify fully, 2m divided by m. So we've got 2m divided by m. So that means m cancels on the top and bottom of the fraction to give us the answer 2. Part D says simplify fully, y times y times y. This is just y cubed. Question 3 says here is a quadrilateral. Write down the letter of the obtuse angle. So an obtuse angle is between 90 and 180 degrees. So that will leave us with letter C. Part B says write down the letter of an acute angle. So in this diagram there are actually 2 acute angles. Acute angles are less than 90 degrees. So that leaves us with A or D. So either or will give us the correct answer. Part C says how many lines of symmetry does this shape have? So a line of symmetry means that we draw a line from one vertex and then it is the mirror image when we split that shape in half. So in this case there are no lines of symmetry, so the answer is just 0. 4a says 1 lettuce costs £1.29. How much does 7 of these lettuces cost? So 1 lettuce is £1.29, so we need to do 7 times £1.29. And this gives us £9.03. Part B says 5 cucumbers cost £6.40 in total. How much do 2 of the cucumbers cost? So you've got 5 cucumbers that cost £6.40. So if we work out how much 1 cucumber is worth, we can set this equation up here. 5 cucumbers is equal to £6.40. So to get the cost of 1 cucumber, this is 5 times C. So we're going to divide both sides by 5 to get rid of that 5. So £6.40 divided by 5 is equal to £1.28, and we want 2, so we're going to multiply this value by 2. So 1.28 times 2, this is equal to £2.56. Question 5 says a company sells 3 types of bottle. The pictogram shows how many bottles they sold 1 week. Part A says the company sold more plastic bottles than glass bottles that week. How many more? So in the key, 4 of these rectangles represent 20 bottles. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if we do 5 times 20, this will give us how many plastic bottles there are. So we've got 100. And then for the glass bottles, we've got 2 of these. So 2 multiplied by 20 is equal to 40. So in total, to get how many more, we're going to do 100, subtract 40, which is equal to 60. Part B says the company sells steel bottles for £17.50. Work out the total amount of money made from selling these steel bottles that week. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 20. That's equal to 120. And then we need to add on one of these squares. So if 4 squares equals 20, then 1 square is equal to 5. So 120 plus 5 is equal to 125. And then we're needing to times this number by £17.50. So 125 multiplied by 17.50 is equal to £2,187.50. Question 6 says shape ABCDE is drawn on a centimetre grid. Complete the statement. So we've got A, B to something is equal to 5 to 1. So you've got AB, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, to something where we've got 1 square length. So that will be DC. Part B says on the centimetre grid, draw a rectangle with the same area as shape ABCDE. So to get the area, we're going to count how many squares we've got. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we've got 8 whole squares. Then 2 halves, which make 9, and then another 2 halves, which make 10. So if we do a 5 by 2 rectangle, then we'll get the same area. So we've got 2 squares by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 by 2 squares by 5 squares. Question 7 says use a ruler for this question. Here is an accurate drawing of an equilateral triangle by measuring, work out the perimeter of the triangle. So I don't actually have a ruler on the iPad, but if we were to measure this, this is equal to 74 millimeters, and it's an equilateral triangle, so that means that all of the sides are the same. So if we do 74 multiplied by 3, this is equal to 222 millimeters. Question 8 says there are 56 cubes in a box. The cubes are green, red, blue or white. 17 cubes are green. There are an equal number of red, blue and white cubes. How many red cubes are in the box? So we've got green, red, blue or white. And there are 17 greens, and then there are an equal number of red, blue and white cubes. So we're going to denote these as X. So if we do 17 plus X plus X plus X, this should equal 56. So forming an equation, we can get X plus X plus X, which is equal to 3X, plus 17 is equal to 56, and then solve for X. So we can subtract 17 from both sides of the equation to get 3X is equal to 56, subtract 17, which is equal to 39. And then if we divide both sides of the equation by 3, X will equal 13. So how many red cubes are in the box? There are 13. Part B says 24 more cubes are added to the box. A cube is picked at random. The probability that the cube is green is 0.4. How many of the 24 cubes that were added are green? So the probability of a green is equal to 0.4. So how do we calculate the probability? Well, it's the frequency, so the total amount of greens, which we don't know how many greens there are now, divided by the total. We know that there were 24 more cubes that were added, so 24 plus 56 is equal to 80. So if we solve this equation for X, we can multiply both sides of the equation by 80. So that means X is equal to 0.4 multiplied by 80, which is equal to 32. So previously in part A, it said that there were 17 green cubes. So if we do 32, subtract 17, we'll see how many more green cubes were added. So 32 subtract 17, and this is equal to 15. So the answer is 15. Question 9 says an electric car uses 1 unit of energy to travel 3 miles. So 1 unit is equal to 3 miles. 1 unit of electricity costs 50 pence. So 1 unit also equals 50 pence. Work out the cost of electricity in pounds to travel 270 miles. So we want to get 270 miles. So what factor have I multiplied 3 by to get 270? Well, we just need to do 270 divided by 3, which is equal to 90. So times by 90. So we need to do the same on the other side. 1 times 90 is 90 units. And if we've got 90 units, then we're going to do the same conversion here. I've multiplied by 90 here as well. So I need to multiply 50 pence by 90 as well. So 90 times 0.5 and this is equal to 45 pounds. So the answer is 45. Question 10. So Lima buys 2 meters of linen at £8.50 per meter. So 2 meters is equal to £8.50 per meter. She also buys 5 meters of cotton. The total cost is £38. What is the cost of 1 meter of cotton? So we've got 2 meters, which is £8.50. She also buys 5 meters of cotton. So we're going to do £8.50 plus 5 meters of cotton, and this is equal to £38. So we've got an equation here that we can solve for C. So if we subtract £8.50 from both sides, and this will give us 5C is equal to 38 subtract £8.50, which is equal to £29.50. And then to get C on its own, we're going to divide both sides of the equation by 5. So £29.50 divided by 5 is equal to £5.90. Part B says buttons cost 65 pence each. The greatest number of buttons Lima can buy with £5 is 7. She says the greatest number of buttons I can buy with £10 is 14 because £10 is double £5. Is she correct? So we've got the buttons that are 65 pence each. And we want to calculate the greatest number of buttons that she can buy. So we're going to test it against 14. So if we multiply this by 14, 0.65 times 14 is equal to £9.10. So if we were to do 0.65 times 15, so 0.65 times 15, this is equal to £9.75. So she's not correct because the greatest possible amount she can buy is 15. Question 11 says, here is a table of values for the equation y equals 3x plus 1. Draw the graph of y equals 3x plus 1 from 1 to 4 for the x values. So we're going to plot these points. 1, 4 is at this point here. The next one is 2, 7. So 2, 7 is about here. And the next one is 3, 10. And then we've got 4, 13. Which is about there. And then we draw a straight line through these points. Like that. Work out the value of y when x is equal to 2.5. So if y is equal to 3x plus 1, we're going to substitute in x equals 2.5. So 3 multiplied by 2.5 plus 1. So 3 multiplied by 2.5 and then plus 1. This is equal to 8.5. Question 12 says a code has 5 different digits written in order, starting with the smallest. The last digit is the only square number and the middle digit is the only even number. Work out the code. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 digits. So the square numbers that are single digits are 1, 4, 9, and that's it for those. Then we've got the middle digit is the only even number. So the even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8. So if we choose 9 as the last digit, and then the middle number, if this is 9 and we put 6 in the middle, this is a bit of trial and error, then we need to, if we put 7 here, 5 here, and then 3, does this satisfy it? So the last digit is the only square number, which is correct. That's 9. Then the middle digit is the only even number, which is 6. And then we've got 5, 7, and 3 that don't have a criteria. So yes, this code is the final answer. Question 13, which is the last question in this part 1 video. We've got 4 numbers have a mean of 10. 3 of the numbers are 5, 8, and 9. Work out the other number. So the mean is adding all of the digits up divided by how many digits there are. So 5 plus 8 plus 9 plus x, all divided by 4, should equal 10. So if we solve this equation for x, we'll get what that number is. So if we multiply both sides of the equation by 4, because this is divide by 4, so we're going to do the opposite. This is going to give us 5 plus 8 plus 9. This is equal to 22, so 22 plus x is equal to 40. And then if we subtract 22 from both sides of the equation, x is equal to 40, subtract 22, which is equal to 18. So the other number is 18.